Welcome back to episode 3 of the character customization series, and in this video we're going to focus on adding outfits and our style system. First things first, we're going to do a couple of quick main scene updates. So let's go to our main scene, and I did say in the last video that this was supposed to be a panel container, and I accidentally set it to a panel, so let's properly update this to a panel container. This shouldn't really have any effects on what we're going to be doing. So if we go in and play this now, yeah, everything still good here. And actually, I think that's all we need to do. Now we can start moving forward. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create what we're going to call a customization option. So we're going to put this into our resources folder. We're going to call this our customization option. You can open that script. You can give it a class name of customization option, and we're going to make sure it extends resource. So we're not going to have any methods in here right now. First thing we're going to do is add an export variable for our texture. This could just be of type texture 2D. This is going to be the texture for our customization option or our outfits. We're going to have another export variable of the name, which is going to be of the type string. Again, we can default that to an empty string. This is just going to be a display name shown in UI dropdowns and labels. And then we're going to have an export variable. Sorry, it's not an export variable, it's an export multi-line variable of our description, which is also going to be a string, and it can be defaulted to an empty string. Right now, this is really going to be optional, but we're going to include it here in case we want to build on this in the future. Then we need to go back into our character data, and we are going to first make an enum for body part. And we're only going to have two things in here. One is just going to be the base and outfit. More types are going to come later, but this is just going to help us for this video. The next export variable that we want to make is going to be our selected base, which is going to be an integer. It's going to default to 0, so it means that our base character is always selected. And we're going to set up an export variable for our selected outfit, which is an integer. We're going to default it to -1, which is going to mean that no outfit is selected. Then we're going to create another export variable. We're going to call this our outfit color. It's going to be a type color. And we're just going to default this to be white for our base. So it's going to be ones across the board. Then we're going to hop back into our customization manager script, and we're going to add a new signal, which is going to be called customization updated. It does not have any variables along with it. And we are going to create a new variable called outfit options, which is going to be an array of customization options. And we're going to default that to an empty array. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a few new methods. So one is going to be update part. We're going to add to this, but I'm just going to build these out right now. Update color. We're going to have load customization options. And lastly, we're going to have add option. So let's go through each of these one by one. For update part, we're going to be taking in a part, which is going to be a type of character data dot body part. And then we're also going to get a color. Oh, no, sorry, not a color. We're going to get an index, which is going to be an integer. And in the body of this method, we're going to match on our part. We're going to get the character data, body part, and get our outfit. I'm going to go into the character data, the selected outfit. I'm going to set it to the index. And then we are going to do customization updated and emit. So make sure you do have customization updated. I did quickly update this. I think it was off camera. So it's customization updated. I originally had customization update, so make sure that that matches. Then in update color, we're going to do the same thing on part. We're going to match on the character data, body part. And instead of index though, we are going to do color, which is going to be of the type color. And let's copy this, but we're going to make some changes to it. So instead of selected outfit, we're going to do outfit color, and then we're going to map it to the color we're passing in, and then we still want to emit this signal. Then we're going to jump down to add option. So we're going to have an array, which is going to be an array of customization options, a path, which is a string, and a name, which is a string. We're going to get a variable, we're going to call it option, and we can set this to be equal to a new customization option. Then we have if resource loader exists on the path. So we're going to get the path of our actual asset. There's probably a different way that we can do this, but this is how I'm going to do this right now. We can do option.texture is going to equal to load on the path. Option.name is going to be equal to the name that we're passing in. And then we're going to append this new option to the array. Otherwise, we're going to push a warning, and we're going to say resource not found. Then we're going to pass in the path. And we did this first because we're going to use this inside of our load customization options. So now we're going to add option, outfit options. That's the array we're passing in. And then we are going to want to pass in first, we want to do outfit 1. So if I just click and drag this, don't hold control, you'll get that full file path. Then we're going to name this casual outfit. And then we're going to do this same thing, except these two are going to change. We're going to drag in outfit 2. And we're going to call this formal outfit. It may or may not really actually be formal and casual outfits, but just so we can show off how this is going to work, that's what we're going to call them. And the last thing that we're going to need to do here, we go back up to our ready method, and we want to load our customization options. Now we're ready to update our character scene and some UI elements. So let's go back to our character scene and our character script. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add another child node to our sprites holder. It's going to be of a sprite 2D. And what we're going to do is call this outfit. And the only other thing we're going to do here is we're going to start implementing some Z indexing. So in our base, if we go down to visibility, or not visibility, in ordering, it's defaulted at 0, which is what we want. We want this to be behind all of the clothing and hair and hats that we're going to add to our player. In our outfit though, that's where we need to go to the visibility. We'll go to our ordering, and I want to raise this to 1 because I want my outfit to be in front of the base. So that's all we're going to have to do there right now, but we need to go back into our script, and I'm going to just rearrange these. I'm going to have sprites at the top. We're going to need our outfit. I'm going to call it our outfit sprite, and we're going to add 2 new methods. The first one is going to be update character, and it's not going to take anything. It's not going to return anything. And then lastly, we're going to do on customization updated. On customization updated, all we're going to do is update our character. In update character, we're going to create a variable of data, and we're going to set this equal to a customization manager in our character data. Then we're going to tap into our base sprite, and we're going to modulate it equal to the data we're getting in the skin color. And we're going to check if we have an outfit selected where it has an index of greater than or equal to 0. Then we have to get the outfit from our manager. So we're going to do the outfit sprite dot texture is going to be equal to our customization manager. We have to tap into our customization manager, our outfit options at the index of our data and our selected outfit. Then we get the texture from that. Then we go into our outfit sprite, modulate. It's going to be equal to our data, our outfit color. And then we're going to do our outfit sprite visible, and we want it to be true. Otherwise, if we don't have an outfit, we want it to be false. We don't want it to be visible. Now we have to go back up to our ready method and make sure everything is connected. So what we're going to do is go back into our customization manager and our customization updated signal and connect to it. and we want to pass in our on customization updated method. Just make sure you remove the parentheses, and then update color can stay the same, but then we also need to do update character. So now let's jump back in to our theme, and we're just going to add some styling here, which will come into play when we continue to build this out. So we want to add a button, and we are going to do a font color, a font hover color. And for our font color, what we're going to do is we can go to the RG, or let's go to the raw. This is actually fine as is. And then in our hover color, what we're going to do is just change this all to 1s. Then we want to go here and in our normal, so we're going to add a style box flat. And in this style box flat, we're going to change the background color to be 0.2 across the board on the RGB. The alpha can stay at 1. Oop, didn't save, okay. And then we want our corner radiuses to be 4 across the board. So just doing some light button styling. Then we want to add in an option button, and we need to update some constants. So we're going to want to go into here, and we want to change the arrow margin. Instead of it being 4, we're going to change this to 8. Then we're going to add a VBox container, and then we're going to make the separation be 12 instead of the default of 4. And then we're going to add a margin container where we're going to have the margins are going to be all 16 across the board. So we're going to add all of these, and they're all going to be 16. All right, let's save this resource. We can bring this down, and now we're going to create what we're going to call a customization section. Okay, and this is not going to be of the type control. It's going to be a VBox container. We are going to add a label to it. We're going to add an option button, and we're going to add a margin container. The label is going to be called title label. The text doesn't matter because we're going to set this via the script. The option button, all we want to do is go into our layout, and we want our container sizing. We want this on our horizontal. We want to make sure that we have fill here. So that's the default. So that's good. We actually don't have to make changes here. And then in our margin container, we're going to go to our theme overrides, and we're going to do 8 across the board here. And as a child of our margin container, we're going to do a grid container. And we're going to call this our color grid. This is going to have 7 columns. We're going to fill this with 7 colors. So this is going to be where we display our color swatches. And we just want to make sure that we are also on fill here, which we are. So that's good. Now let's save this scene. This can be saved into our scenes as customization section. And now we can go ahead and attach a script to it. So we can call it customization section. Make sure you save it into the scripts folder. Let's give it our class name of customization section, and it can extend the VBox container as it already is populated. Let's just get rid of these comments now. Actually, we can get rid of all this. We're not going to need this. We are going to need 2 signals. One is going to be option selected, and that's going to get an index at an integer. And we're going to have a signal for color changed, which has a color. Then we need onReady variables for our title label. We're going to need our option button and our color grid. Then we're going to have a constant, which we're going to call outfit colors, which is going to be an array of different colors. And just to save some time here, I'm going to copy and paste this in. So pause the video here if you want. I have some comments on each of these to just show what each is, but we're going to have a blue, red, green, yellow, purple, black, and white. And we need a normal variable that has none option, which is a bool. We're going to default to false. So this is going to track if we want to have none as an option for them to select, which would remove any selections that they have, or they wouldn't have a selection. Then let's create all the setup functions that we need, which the first one is actually going to be called setup. Then we're going to have our setup color swatches method. Then we're going to have create color style box method. Then we're going to have create color pressed callback. And lastly, we're going to have a method called on option selected. Okay, so let's start up at the top with our setup method. And this is going to be given a title, which is a string, options, which is an array of strings, an initial selection, which is an integer that defaults to 0. And then we're going to have show color, which is a bool, which defaults to false. The first thing we're going to do is tap into our title label and get the text, and we're going to set it equal to the title that we're passing in. Then we're going to get our option button. We're going to clear it, so we just do a little safety to clear any existing items. Then if we have show color, so if that's true, we're going to do an option button, add item, and then we're going to pass in the string of none, which is a label. And then we're going to go has none option. It's going to equal true. Then we're going to loop through our options. So we're going to for option and options. We're going to do option button, add item, pass in our option. And we do if our initial selection is greater than or equal to 0, so the index is proper. We're going to do our option button dot selected. It's going to equal our initial selection plus 1 if we have the none option, else 0. Then we need to set up the color grid if needed. So if we have show color, we're going to set up color swatches. Otherwise, we're going to make the color grid invisible. So visible equals false. And that's all we need there. So let's move into set up color swatches. So we're going to loop through all the colors in our outfit colors. And we're going to create a variable called button, and we're going to make a new one. Then we're going to set a custom minimum size on our button, which is going to be a vector 2 and 30 by 30. We're going to create what we're going to call a normal style, which is equal to the create color style box, which is going to take in a color, which we have not created that method yet, so we're going to get some errors here. And then we're going to have a hover style, which is going to be a create color style box. And we're also going to pass in a color and then the Boolean of true. So to move on this, or to make this make a little bit more sense, we're gonna let's build out the create color style box first. So in create color style box, as you can guess, we are going to take in a color, and then we're going to take in a Boolean of is hover, which is going to default to false, which is why we don't have to put that in our first, inside of the first create color style box. We're okay with this being default. We also are going to return a style box flat here. So that's why we're getting an error right now. And what we're going to do inside of the create color style box is we're going to get a variable called style, and we're going to create a new style box flat. And we're going to get the style and get the background color, make it equal to the color we passed in. Then we're going to round some corners. So we're going to do our style dot corner radius. We're going to start with our top left. It's going to be equal to 15. Style corner radius. We'll do top right is going to equal to 15. Style dot corner radius bottom left equal to 15, and then the bottom right equal to 15. Then we're going to check if we are on a hover. We're going to add a border on the hover just to give it better user feedback. So the style, we're going to do the border width left is going to be 2. And as you can probably guess, we are going to be doing this for right, up, or bottom and top as well, not up. So you can do right, We're going to do top, and then we'll do bottom. And then the last thing we're going to do is get a border color, and we're going to set it to a white. And then lastly, outside of that if, we just return that style. Now we can go back up into our setup color swatches. What we're going to do is get the button that we just created. We're going to add a theme style box override. We'll call this normal because that's what we're going to be. We want to apply on the normal style. We're going to pass in our normal style. And then we're going to do this again, except we're going to do it for our hover, and then we give it our hover style. And we need to tap into our button pressed signal. We're going to connect it, and we are going to do create color pressed callback, which we actually want the parentheses now, and we're going to pass in a color. We're going to jump to the create color pressed callback method right after this, but we have one line left, so we're going to do our color grid. We're going to add child, and then we're going to give it the button. All right, so that wraps up the setup color swatches method. Now let's go down to the create color pressed callback, which takes in a color. And we're not going to return void, we're going to return a callable. And all we're going to do is return the function of color changed dot emit and the color. Then on our option selected, we're going to convert the UI index to a data index, and we have to account for our none option. So we're going to give it a data index, which is going to be equal to index, which I guess we should make sure that we are passing in an index first. But the data index is going to be index -1 if has none option, else 0. And then we get our option selected button or signal, we emit it, and we pass in the data index. Then we need to hop back into our customization panel. And the first thing that we're going to do, so this is our current customization panel, we're going to add a child to our VBox container and call a scroll container. Then we're going to add a child to the VBox container, to the scroll container, and it's going to be a VBox container. Let's bring this up. I want the scroll container to be the top child of the VBox container. And we're going to rename this VBox container to be called our options container. And our options container is going to hold our customization sections. Then in our VBox container, we're going to make a HBox container, which is going to have a button. And it's actually going to have two buttons. The first one is going to be our reset button. And the second one is going to be our randomize button. We can delete this label and color picker button since we're going to be using color swatches now. So let's get rid of this. Now we need to update our script. So we no longer need the color picker because we're not going to be using that, but we are going to want our options container, the reset button, and the randomize button. Okay, let's get rid of these because this is not going to be how we work now. We can actually just get rid of all this. We're just going to start from the top. And we are going to need a variable called sections, which is a dictionary. It's going to be equal to an empty one. And we're going to need our ready method, but let's do some other stuff first. Let's create some methods. One is going to be create sections, which doesn't take anything, doesn't return anything. And then we're going to have add option section, which is going to take stuff. We are going to give it a title, which is a string, a part, which is a character data, body part. And we're going to give it options, which is an array of customization options. Then we are going to have a can color boolean, which we're going to default to false. And we're going to allow none, which is a boolean, to default to false. Let's get this formatted properly. This isn't going to return anything, so we can do that. Okay, here we go. I'm actually going to need a couple of other methods too. I'm going to bring this one up here. We're just going to have a method that we call connect buttons. That will be a pass. Then down here, we're going to have func on random pressed. And we're going to have on reset pressed. And then lastly, we're going to have update UI from data. Now in our ready, we're going to have our create sections. We are going to connect our buttons. And then we're going to tap into our customization manager, the customization updated signal. We're going to connect to it. And then we're going to pass in the update UI from data method. Just make sure you remove those parentheses. We'll come back to connect buttons, but we do need to create sections. So what we'll do first, we're going to create the outfit section first. Because we actually, it just reminds me, we are going to need another method that we're going to call add color section. So we'll come back to this because we are going to need this for skin color, but we will handle our outfit section first. So we're going to add an option section and we're going to pass in the outfit. We're going to get the character data body part and the outfit. We're going to go into our customization manager. We're going to get the outfit options, then true and true. So it can be colored and it can be none. And then we need to make sure that we're going to do this for the skin also. So in our add color section, we are going to have all of these same things. We're going to need all of these. Not all of these, but we're going to have the title, the part, and then the only other thing that we're going to need is initial color, which is going to be of the type color. And in order to make this work, we're going to need a new constant up at the top here. So let's make a constant, and we're going to call it our section scene. And it's going to be equal to a preload, and we're going to drag in our customization section. So drag this in here. Now we can go back down to our add color section, and we are going to instantiate that scene or that section. So we're going to create a new variable called section, and we're going to get into our section scene. We're going to instantiate it, and we go to our options container. We're going to add child and pass in that section. And we're going to get our section. I'm going to pass in setup and give it the title, an empty array, -1, and true. So that is going to be no options, the -1 selection, and true so we can show color. Then we're going to get our section. We're going to color change signal. We're going to connect. We're going to write a little one-off method, which is going to be func, give it a color, and it's going to be equal to we want our customization manager. I'm going to update color, give it the part, and then the color. Then lastly, we tap into our sections at part. It should be inside of the square brackets, and then we set it equal to our section. Now we'll go back up to create sections, and we're going to add our color section. We're going to pass in skin color. I'm going to give it a character data, the body part, and we're going to use the base. And we'll go into our customization manager, the character data, and skin color. Now we need to go do something similar for our add option section. So we need to do the same start for our add color section. So let's just copy and paste that. We're going to need to instantiate that section scene. Then we're going to create a variable called option names. which will equal an array of strings. It can default to an empty. And if allow none, option names, and we append the string of none. Then we loop through our options. So for option in options, we go to our option names, and we append the option dot name. Then we're going to create a new variable called our current selection, which is going to be equal to our customization manager character data. We're going to get. We're going to look at selected then underscore plus character data dot body part dot keys at part, and then we're going to do to lower. We check if our current selection is equal to -1 and allow none. The current selection is equal to 0. If our current selection is greater than or equal to 0 and allow none. Our current selection plus equals 1. Then we need to go into our section. We do setup, give it a title, option names, the current selection, and the can color. Then section dot has none option is going to equal to allow none. And then section option selected, we tap into that signal. We're going to connect, and we are going to make another function here, which is func takes an integer as an, or we want an index as an integer. Then we're going to make a variable called adjusted index, which is going to equal our allow none offset at the index allow none. Allow none offset we are going to make shortly right after this, so it's going to error out for right now. And then after allow none, we want to go into our customization manager. So I don't like how this is formatted. Okay. Customization manager. Update part. We're going to give the part and then the adjusted index. And then if we can color this, we're going to do our section color change signal. We're going to connect, and we are going to make another function where we pass in the color, the type color. Then we go into our customization manager. We update the color, part, and color. And then the last thing we do in this method is we're going into our sections part, and it's going to equal our section. Okay, so let's create this allow none offset now. And it's going to take in an index, which is an integer, and allow none, which is a bool, and we're going to return an integer. So if not allow none, we return our index. If index equals 0, we return -1. Otherwise, we return index -1. Then on random pressed, we're going to do our customization manager. We're going to reset character, which is another method that we're going to need to make, which we'll do right after this. And then we want to update UI from data. Sorry, this is going to be randomize character. And then the one below on reset pressed is going to be reset character. So we're going to make both of those methods shortly, but we have we have two more methods. We need to do our connect buttons and the update UI from data. So in this one, we're going to loop through our part in sections. We're going to get our section, which is going to equal our sections at part. We get a variable of current value, which is going to equal to our customization manager dot character data dot get, and we're going to get at selected underscore plus our character data dot body part dot keys at the part, and then we're going to do 2 lower. Then the next variable we're going to need is our current color. It's going to be equal. It's going to be similar to this, not exactly, but we're going to change this. This is actually going to be first, and then we're going to do plus underscore color. Then we need to get a variable called display value equal current value. If our current value is equal to -1 and our section has none option, our display value is equal to 0. Oh, I have to get rid of the comma here, and that should be a plus. And back down here, we're going to do elif current value is greater than or equal to 0, and our section dot has none option. The display value plus equal 1. If our display value is greater than or equal to 0, we're going to do section update selection and then give it the display value. This update selection we also have not made. It's going to come in our customization section script that we're going to work on right after this. We're going to have if current color does not equal null, section dot update color, and we give it the current color. Okay, so let's wrap up this script. I know it's been a lot here. Let's just do our connect buttons. And you don't even need that. You could put these in the ready. I'm just separating these. We are going to do our reset button, pressed, connect, then on reset, pressed, get rid of the parens, and then we need to do the same thing for our randomize button. Let's go back into our customization section. So we can bring this up here. Let's go to the top, and we're going to add another variable. We're going to call it current color. It's going to be equal to color. We need to go back and actually add those update methods that is going to be used on our customization panel script. So let's add update selection, which is going to take an index, which is an integer. It's not going to return anything. We're also going to have update color, which is going to take in a new color of the type color. It's not going to return anything. And then we are going to make a method called update selected color visuals, which also doesn't take anything. In update selection, we're only going to update if an index is valid. So we check if the index is greater than or equal to 0 and index is less than the option button dot item count. And if it is, we go to our option button, selected, not select, and we set it equal to our index. Then we can come down into our update color. We're going to set our current color equal to the new color. And then we're going to pop into the update selected color visuals. So here, we're going to go through each color button in our grid. So for button in our color grid, dot get children, we're going to create a variable. I did not want the colon outside, and then we're going to create style, which is a style box flat. It's going to be equal to a button dot get theme style box, and we're going to get the normal. Then we're going to get a variable called is selected, which is going to equal our style.bg color equal to our current color. So it's going to be a Boolean. We're just going to check it on that. Then we're going to get a hover style, which is going to be equal to a create color style box. Then we have the styles background color and is selected. Then we go button. We're going to add theme style box override. It's going to be on normal. style.bg color is selected. And we're going to do 2 more overrides. So I'm going to copy and paste both of these, except this is going to be on hover. And all we're going to do is pass in our hover style. And this is going to be on pressed, which is also going to get our hover style. Okay, now the last thing that we're going to do in this tutorial is we are going to go back into our customization manager script. We need to add 2 new methods. One is going to be called randomize character, which is not going to return anything. And then we have our reset character. In randomize character, we're going to ensure that we have all the options to randomize. So we're first going to look for if our outfit options is empty. We're going to push a warning, no outfits available. Then we return. Otherwise, we go to our character data, outfit color. We're going to set it equal to a color. And we're just going to get a random F range of everything from 0.2 to 1.0. And we're going to do this 3 times so we can get the RGB values. And we're going to set the alpha to 1. Then we do character data dot outfit, our selected outfit is going to be equal to a random integer. And we're going to pass in our outfit options dot size. So we're just going to get a random index from our outfit options. Then we go to our customization updated signal and we emit it. Then in our reset character, we're going to do character data dot selected outfit equals 1 or -1. So we get to the base. We have our character data dot outfit color. I'm going to set it to that white that we did, so 4 ones. And then we do customization updated signal and we emit it. Okay, so a lot of code without really being able to see anything. So let's actually go play this thing. Let's test this out. Okay, so this doesn't like our setup value. So what are we missing here? It doesn't have the same element type. Okay, so I don't think we want an array of strings. Let's just make this an option. Okay, so there's some issues here. Let's see if we can debug this a little bit. So the UI is not looking good. Our scroll container expand. There we go. Okay, so I had one thing incorrect for the UI, but we still have some problems. Okay, so all right, let's pause on that. The option container. Let's make sure that this has everything that we want. We want size fill. Okay, let's think that is good now. Let's go back and see that error we got when we actually clicked a color. All right, so skin, none. All right, so these aren't working. We have 2 nuns here, which is an issue. And when I hit red, I get an error, invalid operands, nil and int operator. Okay. Okay, so I think we're going to need to fix a couple of things. It seems like update UI from data isn't giving the right output that we want. I also noticed that we had none showed up twice in those 2 as an option. So let's look at this. Okay, so let's give current value doesn't equal null. So we're only going to do all of this if we get a proper value. So we're going to do sort of like this check. We're going to do this check also. And then for the duplicate none, let's go to our customization section and I think this is what's causing, yeah, I think this is causing the double, because in add option selection that we made is where. So let's get rid of this. Let me see if this works now. Okay. So here we're gonna have to make a normal style either. This is my mistake there. So we're gonna need a normal style here. Let's copy this. And yeah, it can be the same. Let's pass that in. Let's try and get this working now. Okay. So we have our selections working. This we don't want for skin color, but outfit we're going to want, but none of the outfits are loading. First thing that we can do, let's get rid of the drop down. So in customization section, go back to our setup. And before we get into all this other stuff, we're just going to do a check. So if options is empty, we're going to do option button dot visible equals false. And then else, we are going to do this, put this in the else clause. And then we also are going to need this in the else clause. And we need to go to our character script, and we need to make sure this was from me when I was debugging. We need to make sure that our outfit sprite is configured for the sprite sheet. So we're going to have 8 H frames, 8 V frames, but we want to set it at frame 0. Then in our customization panel, sorry, we're not going to go to the customization panel. We're going to go to the customization section again. And we need to implement this current color tracking. So we're going to go back to update color. Okay, we're already storing the new color, so that's good. We need to update the update selected color visuals. And instead of this stuff over here, we are going to get rid of this, and we're going to make a new style just called normal style. And it can just be the same as our hover style. And then in here, we're going to pass in normal style. Okay, so let's try this. All right, here we go. All right, that's not working. So the skin color isn't working, so we're gonna have to fix that, but we do have the 2 outfits and all of the buttons are working. Oh, okay. So we aren't doing the match on character data body part. We're not doing skin. What do we call it? Base. Okay. We're gonna do it on the base. And we're gonna get the character data. We get the skin color and set it to the color. Okay, so now that should work. There we go. Okay. Now we can put an outfit on this pink alien and we can start changing it. Okay, I think that's a good stopping point for this video. So as I said in the next video, we're going to be working on the random reset, save and load, and then the rest of the options.